Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, where we explore everything related to mortgages and the home buying process. If you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned investor, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Vanessa, the Mortgage Broker. So, let's get to it. So I'm excited today to introduce to you guys a colleague and what I would consider a mentor of mine for the last year. Jason Armstrong from Team Armstrong, also known as Team Flex internally. Thank you for sitting down with me today. So we just kind of want to know how your journey started and how you ended up with Mortgage Architects.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for having me. How did we get to Mortgage Architects? So I became a broker about 7 years ago. So in 2015, I've gone through 3 different brokerages, and the big decision with Mortgage Architects was the leadership team, to be honest with you. So there's a couple of people, Scott Musselman, Lisa Ballad, and ultimately Dustin Woodhouse. And before I came over to Mortgage Architects, I had a conversation with Woodhouse, and he said, you don't join a brokerage for the money, you don't join a brokerage for anything else, you join a brokerage for the people. So it's the people at Mortgage Architects is why I'm there, and then ultimately why we're there.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with that more. Like, I've not felt so welcomed by a company or a team, rather, since I've joined Mortgage Architects, and then specifically Team Armstrong. So yeah, thank you for that.
We're a family.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know who Dustin Woodhouse is, he's our CEO at Mortgage Architects, and if you ever find the time, he has written a couple of books, Be the Better Broker. If you're into mortgages, it's great.
And business as well.
This is true. Yeah, there's a lot that you can take from it, even if it's not mortgages specifically that your career is in.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that I just wanted to commend for Team Armstrong or Mortgage Architects as a whole. So, as you know, I kind of told you what my journey was and how I ended up at Mortgage Architects on one of my last episodes. And if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. It hasn't expired. But the biggest thing for me was the people, and it was that warm sense of welcoming almost immediately. It made it so easy to make that choice, because I did interview with a couple of different brokerages before speaking with Jason, and just some of the systems and the processing that's in place is just unbeatable. So I just wanted to commend you for that.
Well, thank you. You fit into the culture very well, so it's always a pleasure to have you as part of the team. So yeah, I got into brokering about 7 years ago. So in 2015, I had an accounting practice at the time, which I just sold in 2020. But in 2015, I had a couple clients come to me asking for their tax returns in the fall, so not tax season. And I was questioning why they're asking for this information. And they were doing it for their own personal financing. And I reached out to a friend of mine, Patrick Briscoe, who's a business partner of mine, and he had a mortgage team. And 3 weeks later, I was partnered with him on his team. And one of those clients was my very first client, my very first mortgage that I funded. So then we strategically grew the team together. We ultimately got to the point where we had roughly 10, 12 agents. And then when we joined Mortgage Architects, we actually scaled that back. So it was just Colin DeBroskas, Caroline, and myself who came over to Mortgage Architects to focus on more of a niche team, more experts than just a general add any agent to the team type of feel.
Oh, I feel special.
Yeah, and then ultimately from that day, so that was 2019 that we joined Mortgage Architects, and our focus has been going after expanding the team with higher producing agents who fit into the culture and fit into the value that we have as a team.
I think maybe you should talk a little bit about the value that you do add, because it's a lot different from other brokerages that I spoke to. I mean, I can talk about it a bit, but I think it would be better if it came from you.
Yeah, so the biggest value, in my opinion, like if you look at any brokerage or any team, franchise, etc., everybody's going to try and sell access to lenders, top compensation, right? So if you can get that anywhere and everywhere, that's really not unique.
No.
Right? So when you look at a mortgage broker, our role, we have three basic roles. We have our sales, our underwriting, and our administration. So the unique value proposition that we have as a team really focuses on the admin. So we've implemented automation through Jungo, which is essentially Salesforce, and then we have our centralized admin. So as you're aware, when you underwrite a file or when you complete a mortgage, you really don't do any admin work whatsoever anymore,
No.
right?
And I used to, but it was actually because of you that I don't do that any longer. When I first joined the team, it was, Vanessa, you're going to need an assistant. I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't think you understand how many hours I used to work in my previous role. I'm good. This is fine. And then I was having a pretty good month within the first quarter. And again, you said to me, hey, Vanessa, you're probably going to need an assistant. And by that point, it was too late for me because now I'm in the throes of, oh my God, I'm so busy. Of course I need an assistant now, but I don't have time to acquire one, hire one, train one. Like, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, you coming back to me with a solution that fit my business and made things much, much easier for my lifestyle with my family you don't get that at every brokerage.
Well, the fact is that most of us as brokers or agents are mortgage specialists. We're not business owners, right? So when you're looking at hiring admin or having admin, you're looking at hiring, firing, paying, source remittance, like vacation, you name it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you can focus on your own business and have that taken care of through the team, then you don't need to worry about that. And you can do what you do best, which is sales and underwriting.
Yeah.
Right? And then leave the admin up to the admin that do it better than we do.
Well, and some days, like, I'm so busy on the sales side and the underwriting side, I'm like, how did I ever have time to do that admin work? And like, having, especially the team that we have, Lauren, Caroline, Tyler, like, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then there's the cost of it as well, right? So if you look at, there are going to be weeks that we don't make anything, right? But if we have payroll, we still have to make that payroll payment to the government, to the employee, etc.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're using the centralized admin, you only pay when you get paid. So from a cash flow perspective, it makes it a lot easier for agents.
Yeah, I'm glad that you've taken on all of that for me because I know at the beginning it was a little rough because I wouldn't let go. I had a really, really hard time with that. But since finally like trusting the process and trusting those three individuals, it's made a massive impact in my business.
Yeah, you have to trust the systems.
I did eventually.
You do now.
Now I do.
So the value of the systems that we've built don't only add value to you as the broker or agent, but they also add value to the client as well, right? So one of the things when we built our systems that we really took into consideration is every single client receiving the exact same experience,
right?
And unfortunately, it's the families and friends that we do work with that don't receive that top-notch experience because we're more relaxed, right? It's like, we don't need to worry about this document or that document, we'll get it for you later. But with that automated system that we've created, we have that defined process and absolutely everybody receives the same experience, right? So that system has been built to keep our clients up to date so that they aren't going to their dinner table wondering what's happening with my mortgage application, right? Or calling the realtor to be like, I haven't heard from my mortgage agent. Do you know what's going on? Yeah. Right? Everybody throughout the process is kept up to date, right? So with that very defined process in Jungo, we have 14 stages, and at absolutely every single stage, there's an action, right? So the clients, pretty well every stage is updated in their mortgage process, so they know exactly where they stand, right? Whether that file is in underwriting with our team, it's been submitted to the lender, whether an appraisal's been ordered, etc. They are always kept up to date. And it's very, very simple for us because it's just a click of a button or moving the file along and that email goes out, right? And to them, it looks unique
Yes.
because it's written to them and their particular situation, right? A lot of behind the scenes coding to make that work. But over and above the client experience is everybody else that we communicate to, right? So not only do we communicate with the clients, but we're also communicating with both realtors, the listing realtor, the cooperative realtor, the solicitor, financial advisor, insurance advisor, anybody that could be related, the appraiser, could be part of that transaction, is updated automatically behind the scenes. So your job is more efficient and their experience is 10 times better.
You know, a lot of people think that once a file hits your desk, it's like, okay, now it's approved and then it's done, right? But there's a lot more stages that go into it than just it's approved and now it's closing.
Yeah. So we break that process down into those 14 steps that I mentioned, right? So first step, inquiry, app sent, app received, waiting for documents, underwriting, strategy call, pre-approval, submitted to lender, commitment sent to client, commitment received from client, fulfillment, broker complete, funded and completed, right? So very, very defined process. Yes. And like I said, every single step of the way, either we're tasked to complete something as a broker.
Yeah.
The admins are tasked to complete something, right? The client is continuously communicated with, and as are all the related parties, right? Realtors, financial advisors, solicitors, etc., at their appropriate times, right? Like solicitors getting 4 pieces of communication, not 14.
Right.
When it's relevant, everybody's getting their respective updates.
Yeah, it's a great system. It really is. Well, and the one thing that made a big difference for me, because like I said, in my previous role, that's all I did was like update every single person that was in on the file, attached to the file. And so I spent 80% of my day just doing updates.
Yep.
I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. And there is, thankfully. And so now really the only people that I'm communicating with daily are underwriters, and then, fielding questions here and there from other parties that are attached to the file. I know that myself personally, because we put both the listing and the cooperative real estate agent on there, like I've now gotten referrals from the listing agent because they're like, I've never received communication like this before. Like, hey, the cooperative real estate agent is going to be giving you a call because we've just ordered an appraisal. Yeah. Just to let you know, the file is now broker complete. Like, we're not giving out any specific details about the client, but I can imagine, especially last year when we've had so many deals that kind of fell through, not our team specifically, but just generally, there was, quite a bit of upheaval between the rates and closings and values. If the appraisal wasn't ordered on time and now, you're kind of stuck, where they weren't getting that communication from maybe other brokers or agents that they're working with, and they're just getting a phone call the night before being like, yeah, sorry, the funds aren't there for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like they've closed it 3 months ago, waiting for the purchase date to close, and then going, not funding tomorrow. Where once we say, okay, it's been broker complete, it's gone to the lawyers, like they know that the work that they did three months ago is going to be paid when it's supposed to be.
Well, it provides confidence when they receive 4 pieces of automated communication throughout the process as the listing broker.
Yeah.
So they're not even representing our client.
Right.
They're being updated. And that's only half the communication that our clients, realtors, actually receive.
Yep.
Right. They're going to feel assured that file is in good hands, right? And it improves your odds of actually building a referral relationship with that listing realtor as well.
Yeah.
And then also, if we're representing clients and the listing realtor is the same again, right? They're going to have that same confidence again for that next transaction that, okay, this client's in good hands, their financing is secure, etc.
Well, and people are just so thankful when they actually get an update, because people don't normally take the time like they should anymore. And I know even with some of the lawyers that I've been dealing with for years, even in my previous role and now, it's like, well, thank you so much for letting us know.
Yeah.
And
well, how many files have you dealt with pre-automation where the lawyer reaches out to the client the day of closing to figure something out?
Right.
And it's like, with the automation, we're reaching out to that lawyer 30 days prior to close, 10 days prior to close, 3 days prior to close, all with the intent of putting that client's file on the top of the list.
Yeah.
And making sure if there is any fires that we need to put out, we're putting them out with time and behind the scenes and not stressing the client out.
Yeah, because I don't know if people know this, but like a mortgage file can literally go so sideways, like faster than you can catch it. So by having those automations, it makes it a lot easier to deal with something a week before as opposed to the day of closing. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then with our team, like a lot of our business is coming from financial advisors.
Yes.
Right? Your experience at IG, Brian's experience at IG, etc. We get a ton of business from those advisors where, realtors know what's going on, typically behind the scenes. They know what's going on. Financial advisors, we get a referral, historically speaking, they wouldn't know where that file went.
Yeah.
Did the client start working with you? Did they close the mortgage, etc.? They're kept up to date 4 times, right?
Well,
automatically behind the scenes. And for them, most importantly, I find, A, did it close? Do they need more life insurance?
Right.
Did they apply for the Manulife MPP, mortgage protection insurance through us, right? Adds value to the service that they're providing their client as well.
Right. Well, and the MPP is like a massive piece too. Like they want to make sure that if, we're advancing more funds to a client, that it's protected.
Yeah.
So how many times, even again, when I used to work at IG, it was like, oh no, they don't need the insurance because I'm going to put it in place. But how many times the client actually didn't take the insurance and now they've got nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as part of our process now, it's let's make sure that you have something, and then, forwarding it back to the financial advisor, having that cue in there to say, this has not been looked after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just making sure that everybody's aware of the
I just don't ever want to get one of those phone calls where something wasn't placed, or that is like a nightmare for me. I don't know if I would like quit my job, but it'd be pretty close.
No surprises.
Yeah, so I know before I joined the team in 2021, well, I joined at the very end of 2021, but you guys had, an award for growth, I think, and then it's just progressed from there.
Yeah, so Mortgage Architects has their annual recognition for teams across Canada, and in 2020, Team Armstrong was recognized for top growth in Central Canada. In 2021, we were runner-up for top growth in Central Canada, and in 2022, last year, big part of you being on board was being number 4 in Central Canada for units funded. So the big thing there is the first 3, I think, have like 100 plus agents, where our team has 12 agents, right? So the team as a whole funded $215 million with just 12 agents. And we're looking to grow that team, keep it nice and small as far as number of agents, but focused on that high producing agent, right? So I think our team goal is for 2025 to be $1 billion team with 25 or fewer agents.
So right? I have to take less vacation? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Work a little harder.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Right, because just my personal opinion, but culture is so important with a team. And when you get too big as far as number of agents, number of team members, it's very difficult to maintain that same culture that we have today, right? Like we have that friends, that banter, that family atmosphere. We're just in the process of bringing on our 13th agent right now. You are licensed in both Ontario and Nova Scotia.
I am.
But now the team is actually expanding into BC as well.
This is exciting though.
And next to be Alberta.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to have a lot of the provinces covered and soon to be even more.
Well, and I can tell you, like, being in sales, obviously there's always going to be that part of you that's a little bit competitive, and I'm pretty competitive. So it it really keeps like the fire going when you're bringing on those types of new agents that are also performers, but always sharing the wealth of knowledge, right? Like how many times I've gone back to the team chat, because you don't have to wait for certain people to get back to you. You just go on there, you ask a question. Everyone is just more than willing to always jump in and help out.
Yeah, and just spitballing ideas, right? So like what has worked for different agents, what maybe hasn't worked for different agents, right? And because we're so spread out geographically, it's not like anybody on the team is competing against you, right? You being in Brantford, a good chunk of us being in London, but from Windsor, Vaughan, now BC,
yeah,
we're not running into the exact same clients, right? So we can share ideas, we can do the exact same things in our respective geographic regions and not overlap, right? Not really compete.
Yeah.
So it's more value in my perspective.
Well, there's so much value that's added to the team.
Yeah.
Is our goal to have every province on the team? Or I know it needs to like make sense.
Well, the thing is that there's so many agents that need and want what we've created, right? Not just in Southwestern Ontario.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd rather find that great fit for the team, a nice producing agent that is looking for the centralized admin, that's looking for the automation, etc. And if they're in BC, fantastic.
Yeah.
If they're in St. Catharines, great. If they're in Regina, awesome. Like it doesn't really matter as long as they're a good fit to the team. There's no necessarily like end goal, like I want to have an agent in every single province.
Right.
It's more about, what's the best fit. But if we look at where we're doing business, some of the agents on the team are doing files in Alberta, are doing files in BC. And right now we need to do those files through our head office because they're licensed in all these provinces. But if we have that within our team, then we can do that quicker and have a little bit more control over the particular file rather than relying on head office to be able to do that for us.
Well, and I think that's something that sets you apart from a lot of other brokerages is that you actually take the time to decide who joins the team. Like I remember you saying to me, it's not so much to just bring someone on because they're doing X amount of dollars. They need to fit. Like, absolutely. They need to get along with us and we need to get along with them. And
well, our most recent recruit was 7-8 months ago, and that was Aaron Finney.
Yeah.
Right? And Aaron Finney's a great example of somebody.
Love Aaron Finney.
Love Aaron.
I do.
So do I. But Aaron, if you look at his particular situation, I don't think he minds me speaking to it, but Aaron had a team. Aaron's been in this business significantly longer than I have.
Yeah.
His dad was a broker. He took over his dad's book. He had a team that was larger than our team and didn't want it anymore.
Right.
It was just too much work, too much time, too much stress, right? And he looked at what we were doing and said, I want the automation. Right? When he first came over, he had his own assistant. When his assistant, who was family, went back to school, he jumped on the centralized admin.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't want to have to hire. I don't want to have to train, right? So that's an individual who's been in the industry, very, very successful, yet sees a lot of value in what we have. So yourself, Aaron, you look at anybody on the team, we want the exact same type of people that we already have in different regions.
No, it makes sense.
Right?
Yeah. I had a great year. The first year with Mortgage Architects, I got to spend more time with my family, which was huge for me. This was the whole reason that I had decided to make the move was how can I actually have balance? I was busy, but I also took the time that I wanted to enjoy with my family, which was, that's immeasurable.
Yeah.
And now when I talk to other agents or brokers who may be interested in this role or being out in this space, that's really what I am selling, because when I did work in my previous role, it was, oh yeah, you're allowed 5 weeks of vacation. I can't tell you how many vacations I've actually canceled in the past because you lead up to it and now you can't go.
Yeah, you can't
Like
get away.
it's too busy. Or you go and you're on the phone the whole time and you're on your laptop the whole time, and it's not really a vacation. So those systems and processes that specifically our team has in place because of you, that's allowed me to actually have
that proper work-life balance.
Well, I mean, everybody's kind of searching for that saying, right? Work-life balance. What is that? What does it look like? But that's what it was for me.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to value or determine what is valuable to them.
Yeah.
Right? And success, unfortunately, comes at a cost. Right? And quite often that comes at a cost of an unbalanced work-life balance. Right? Where we emphasize too much work and not enough life. But again, going back to the systems, going back to the admin, that has allowed you to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? Crush the year in 2022.
Thank you.
And not give up the life.
Right?
Not give up little Henry. Right?
Right.
And that's, you can't put a price on that.
Yeah. Right? That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
And, it was a great year. I know I went into it thinking, hey, I would be happy if I did X amount. And you're like, it's too low. That's like, you're crazy. Because I was going into it without any background really. Like I've been doing mortgages for a very long time, but what does that look like when you're not being given the business? And where is that going to come from? And so when you gave me that larger number, I'm like, this guy is out of his mind for my first year. And I came like...
Was it like $10,000 shy?
I was not happy that day when you told me that I didn't make it, but...
No, but...
I was extremely happy with the results that I did have.
When you made the transition from IG over to mortgage architects, it's a big transition. And I think a lot of people underestimate how difficult that transition is, because when you're in an institution, whether that's a big bank, IG, whatever, you're constantly fed those leads, and you don't need to be out there looking for work. When you come over to the broker space, it's more enjoyable, right? But you need to be actually out there and farming every single lead that you close. Right? So it's a big, big difference. So for you to be able to come over in the first year and do, can we say 30 million?
You can say it.
29 million.
No, that's so mean.
10 grand shy of 30 million is a massive accomplishment.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself for.
Thank you, Jason. I just want to say thank you for coming on today and sharing, where things are with the team now and where you see things progressing, and just being a great mentor for me for the past year.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for being part of the team. You're a big part, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
That was cute.
Do you want to hug it out? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget to join the conversation by commenting which topics you would like covered next.